begin. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rise Zion. My name is Seth, and I hope you're all having a great Thursday evening. We're back in our virtual studio here with Melissa from Catch the Buzz and Love Notes from God podcast.
Yes.
Yes. Well, and before we get started here, you guys, make sure that you smash that like button and comment in the chat and comment in the actual video itself, because that will help this be spread to more people and let everybody know that we're having this live stream. I wasn't able to announce it, and we have different times. But in any case, Melissa, before we get started, you wanted me to announce that we actually did a little bit of an interview on both of your channels, Catch the Buzz. You shortened it and Catch the Buzz to about 30 minutes, and it's all about me. And I appreciate you giving the great interview. And so we'll just put in a little plug. And then you have the full version of the interview on Love Notes from God. So if you guys want to check that out later, go ahead and feel free to do that. But today, you guys, we have a very fun topic because we are going to be speculating wildly about what the topics will be of this upcoming General Conference, October 2025. And we want to hear what your thoughts are in the chat. And we're probably going to try to start. I'm going to try to start a little bit of a poll. I think that we can do a poll here. But I don't know what to do a poll about. But but yeah, we can figure out what to do later. But we're going to be talking about lots of different things. We're going to be talking about the topics that might appear on this upcoming General Conference. We're going to be talking about possible candidates for the new 12 because of the fact that, of course, sadly, President Nelson has passed away. They will need to call a new 12 to fill that position in the quorum of the 12. So we're going to be talking about possible candidates. Melissa has a few ideas that she's presented to me that are kind of fascinating. So we're going to be talking about that. I don't have any really good ideas in terms of that so far. I haven't seen anything one way or the other. I know a lot of people have speculated that perhaps one of the 70, perhaps one of the African American general authorities might be chosen because of the fact that they're so conservative. That is one thing that I've heard, and it's very a remarkable thing to see how remarkably faithful the Latter-day Saints are in Africa. And it seems maybe likely that they'll get some representation in the Quorum of the 12. Of course, it all depends in Revelation, but we're very interested to speculate wildly on this matter. And
well, I know for me, one that I've thought of, so I'm from Idaho, and some of you I know are from Idaho and might be familiar with Larry Echohawk. And he's Native American.
Oh, is he?
So that could be really cool.
Oh, that would be really cool. And we've been talking a lot on this channel recently about the possibility of perhaps, we might be getting some kind of new scripture coming forth. And so it'd be really interesting if we had somebody in the Quorum of the 12, if the new scripture that we're going to be getting is perhaps some Native American writing. Maybe he knows some or has some insights into proper translation, or something of that nature. I mean, we've speculated wildly on this channel, but I don't know. That sounds like a very interesting concept to me. Just very provocative, let's say. But yeah, we're going to be talking about possible new temple locations, and this will be based on the data. And I hope that all of our predictions are going to be based on some sort of information. We're not just going to be speculating wildly. We are going to be basing our predictions based on experience, based on like interesting, factoids that we can think of, things that have been talked about and brought up recently by general authorities. But yeah, Melissa, why don't you go ahead and we can start talking. Oh yes, and before we get started, again, to everybody in the chat, let me know where you're from, and let me know if you have any questions, and let me know what your predictions are in the chat, and I will try to read them. And if you'd like to make sure that your chat is read, because at the moment we have about 100 people who have joined us, it's very likely that we might not have time to get to your chat. We're going to be ending at a reasonable time tonight. We're going to be trying to anyway. But in any
We
case,
just have such a good time. It's hard to stop.
yeah, we just talk and talk. But make sure if you are really wanting your chat to be read, make sure to send in super chats, because that is one way that it makes your chat appear. It's highlighted and it appears for a certain amount of time at the very top. So I make sure to be able to read that. But in any case, I'm going to try to read all of them. So thank you guys so much for joining us in the audience out there. But yeah, all right, Melissa, why don't you get started and let's talk a little bit about our wild speculation with regards to, with data to back it up. I want to hear why you think that this is the case.
But also, this is General Conference Adam, Seth.
Yes,
because General Conference Eve is tomorrow.
Oh, yes, you were going to announce that. Yes, it is General Conference Adam, and tomorrow is General Conference Eve. Okay, yes, please go ahead.
And so it was really cool because while Seth was out of town, I was trying my best to not like message him a whole bunch, but we just get revelation and have friends and get ideas. And so it's just exciting and fun. And so I was like, Seth, you should do this and this. And I thought, well, you should do like a General Conference Adam. So this is our General Conference Adam, which comes before Eve.
Yes.
And so, but I'm not a guy, but Seth is, so it works. But anyways, my friend Rachel from Women in the Priesthood, and please let me know if you're familiar with her. She's a part of Word Radio, their women's group that they have.
Yes, yeah.
And her and I are friends, and we have been planning for like a year. So interestingly, when Seth started his channel like a year ago, Rachel and I have been planning for that long to do this collaboration. And so that's why I say, if you feel like the Lord is, as people say, like pressing on you to do something, inspiring you to do something, like it can take a long time. Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes it helps us to hone things in, and it helps us to like be maybe more direct or more intentional with the things that we do. And so like time is not a bad thing, and don't give up, keep going. So anyways, True. Rachel and I will be talking tomorrow on General Conference Eve. And I don't know if we're going to get recorded and then drop it that night or in the morning. But anyways, look for that on Women in the Priesthood with me and Rachel. Yeah. And I'll have it on Love Notes from God is the channel that I will be putting that on. So,
all right. Awesome.
Anyway, super exciting. Thanks, Seth, for letting me do all this with you.
Bet. Too. All right. So up here, Melissa, we have the general authorities. We have just a few. We don't have all of them, but we have most of the 70. This is from April 2020. We couldn't find a more recent depiction of all of the general authorities, but we thought that we'd pull this up so that you have a reference of the images of the general authorities. Of course, Russell M. Nilsson has passed away. We have the 12 here, and then down here we have and of course, Elder Kieran has been
still in there.
Yeah, he's still in he was at this point in the presidency of the 70. So yeah. We're going to be talking about what some of your theories were. All right, so you talked about... okay, so what was the first one that you said? It was the...
Larry Echohawk. He's Native American.
Okay, let's see if we can find him here. Larry
I'm trying to remember.
Is it with an E, you said? Echohawk is his last name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if he is still in there or what position he's in. If somebody else knows, let me know. Let us know in the chat. I'm trying to remember. You can look that up. But but he's one that's been in a 70, and he's been in different positions in the church. But the other one I thought of, can you make it any bigger?
Yeah, I can.
Peter M. Johnson, I think.
That's as far as
that's one of the African American ones that I thought could possibly
Peter M.
be
Johnson right here.
Yeah, and Edward Dubé, either one of them, I've felt a really good spirit when they've given talks through General Conference.
I think it was Edward who really gave that phenomenal talk last General Conference, was it?
Who was the one that did was it 4Ds? It was like doubt. Do you remember that talk?
I don't.
It was so good.
Well, yeah, let me look it up real fast as you talk. It was some years ago.
But does it seem like in 2020 that they had more diversity of speakers? It just felt like, I don't know.
Possibly.
Maybe it just felt like because they had to be recorded and they weren't able to be there on location, a lot of them. And we hadn't really had that before, I don't think, having a recorded message from somewhere else and put onto a general conference. I don't remember that being a thing before.
Oh, I was going to look it up, but let's see. Oh, I think we lost our... Oh, this is the picture still. All right. Well, I mean, we don't have to look it up right now. We can keep talking. But yeah, I think that those are good possibilities. We can... I don't really have any good recommendations. I thought it would be interesting if... it would be really interesting if they promoted, let's say, the presiding bishop.
Yes.
Jose. Yeah.
Yes.
How do you say? Kause?
I could see that happening.
I think that would be really interesting if they did that. He's been there for quite some time, so he does have quite a lot of experience. And that's kind of what my prediction... I would say that would be my prediction. He's been there for quite a long time.
Speculating wildly and provocatively, it could be a new person that just got put into the 70. Who knows?
Could be anybody.
Sky's the limit. Second coming's happening, you know.
Yeah, if I remember right, Carl Cook also gave a pretty good talk as well, but that was recently. But yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting to think about. But yeah, I thought that we don't have a picture of the
Larry
first one that you... Yeah. Say it again.
Larry Echohawk?
Larry Echohawk. Echohawk or Echohawk?
It's all one word, I believe. It's like it's spelled like the word echo and the word hawk. So you could just look those up, I guess, if we're done looking at these.
Yeah.
Do you want me to... Should we read in some of the chat?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let's see, because I'm like, somebody might have helped us out. But all right. Okay. Tyson Price says, I live in Sandy, Utah, about 10 miles south of downtown Salt Lake City, Utah. I work at Desert Book in Cottonwood Heights, Utah. God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Ghost love you. God bless. Thanks. Awesome.
Awesome.
And then, of course, there's you talking back. Tyson, we're about to start. Tyson says, I really hope that there will be a solemn assembly, and I hope we will sustain President Oaks as a new prophet, and that we will sustain a new first presidency and sustain a new apostle.
Absolutely.
So, wild speculation. What do you guys think?
Yes, right? Actually, there's precedent for that, Melissa. And I want to get to that after.
Oh.
After we read these super chats, because we have somebody who sent us in a $5 super chat, Ed, who says that he's asking, should I have ribs for dinner on General Conference Eve? That's very good. I love that. Because of Eve being formed.
Well, how are you going to cook them? If you're going to smoke them, then definitely.
Yeah, definitely. I would say yes, make it a tradition, you guys. We need more traditions like that. All right, let's read the other one. We have a 1-month membership that somebody purchased. Tyson Pierce. All right. For Rise Zion Level 2. That's fantastic. Well, I got to sing in 2 general conferences, they said. I got to sing in the April 2009 Saturday afternoon session and in the April 2012 priesthood session, both with my institute choirs that I was with. Wow, that's really cool. That's really cool. I always wondered... So when I was in the MTC, I actually was in the choir so that I could have really good seats for when the general authorities came to do the devotionals at the MTC. So it must be like that, I imagine. But yeah, thank you for joining us, Tyson Pierce. I don't know if somebody purchased for you this membership or if you purchased it for yourself, but either way, thank you whoever is the person who decided to join the community. We're always very grateful for your support. All right. And okay, so yes, to the topic of the solemn assembly, you guys. So this is actually something that I was doing a little research on before we began, because I know that a lot of people were asking about it. Are we going to have a prophet on General Conference? And there's precedent for this, you guys, because this has actually happened in the past. And what they did was they had the solemn assembly on the Saturday General Conference. And that was when they sustained the new prophet during that that section of General Conference during that solemn assembly. And this has happened in the past. We had for Gordon B. Hinckley in April of 1995. Howard W. Hunter, it says in October of 1994. And for May 1986 on Sunday afternoon for Ezra Taft Benson. So it has happened during General Conference in the past, and it appears that will be the case for President Oaks, this upcoming General Conference. So what will happen is probably on Saturday, people will be asked to sustain him as the new prophet, and that will be the solemn assembly. I don't think it has been officially announced yet, but as far as I can tell, that is what the precedent is that has been set. So, yeah. So it says here the solemn assembly to sustain a new prophet for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will be held during the Saturday morning session of October 2025 General Conference. Awesome. But yeah, I'm just getting this from the Google search. Artificial intelligence, so it might not be accurate, but yeah, just based on what it's seeing in the past, that is what has been done in the past. So I hope that answers your questions. I find that to be the likely scenario as well. Yes, Lindsay says, I love Bishop Cauce. What do you think about that, Melissa? Sorry, I should let you comment on that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I mean, it just would make sense to me, because I think that if you looked in the past, there's been others that have come from the presiding bishopric that have become members of the Quorum of the 12. I feel like that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that seems to be the likely scenario. But yeah, in any case, I guess that we can let's continue reading the chats and see if anybody has any predictions as to the new member of the 12 that we will have. You can continue reading since you are at the top, Melissa, in the chat.
Okay.
I had to skip down.
So Sarah Marie says, hello from West Point. My question is, will we know before a solemn assembly is happening, or is that something we find out after? I agree with Tyson. I hope to sustain Elder Oaks as prophet.
Yeah, so I don't know if we get to know for sure, but that's typically what has happened. Is that's what they do? They do it on the Saturday morning session. So
well, and as you mentioned in your last video too, people weren't sure if President Nelson and the 12, if they were aware ahead of time that the prophet was going to be passing away. But it sounds like to me from what you said, and I'd heard that somewhere else too, that they had talked to him a couple days before. Yeah. And I'm sure that likely even a lot of his funeral things had already been prearranged. I'm sure there'd been a lot of discussion, just in preparation for when it would happen. I mean, especially when they talk about how he was having a hard time even communicating, which I love how we have already had a memorial about him, President Nelson, and them talking about how he was struggling to communicate. I really felt that. I'm sure some others did too, about what that would be like to see that prophet of the Lord trying so hard to communicate with his presidency, his counselors.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It seems like it was just his time to go, and of course everything is planned out in advance by the Lord, and he was able to talk to his first counselors 2 days before his passing. So it sounds like he was aware that this was happening and he needed to talk to them and communicate with them that that they would continue and of course they will. The prophetic mantle is not going anywhere. But I wonder what they talked about specifically, Melissa. And I think that we got a few insights into what they talked about. I think it almost certainly had to do with temple building, amongst other things, but I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think in the chat. What did they talk about on those? What would certainly have been a very difficult situation. But President Nelson wanted assurances from President Oaks, it sounded like to me, just based
Yeah,
on the
him and
video.
Iring, it said them. I believe it
Yeah,
said
them together.
that
I assume
we.
they were together.
Yeah, I
He
don't
wanted
know.
assurances that they would continue with the direction that he had set, or something to that effect. I can't remember the
Yeah,
exact
the
words.
plans and yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing to think about. It's like, well,
What plans?
yeah, what plans were those, and would it be difficult for them to do? Is it something that they have to announce that might be difficult for them to contemplate or to do, that requires some amount of courage? I don't know. Like, that's kind of an interesting a thought. And uh the apostles are not always in lockstep with one another in their revelation. They might have different feelings, but it sounds to me like they agreed to whatever it was that President Nelson wanted to continue down that road with. So I think it almost certainly has to do, well, and just in terms of that, in terms of the, where was I going with that? In terms of the General Conference trailer that was just released today, you guys, it sounds to me like Hear Him from April 2020, that talk that President Nelson gave, is still that seems to be the direction that, to me, I imagine that what he encouraged them to do was to continue in that revelation, to continue seeking revelation, and to even announce temples before they even have plots of land ready, before the plans have been even approved, and to announce that by revelation. That was so remarkable to me. I did not know, you guys, that President Nelson had changed the way that they do things in terms of in terms of temple
But it
building.
shouldn't be a surprise.
I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise, but I mean, yeah, just, if we're so set in our secular mindsets, I think, Melissa, that it when we think about things in terms of like building a structure, for example, we want to be sure before we make an announcement that we can actually do that before, but we have such a secular mindset that we're not thinking in terms of revelation. And certainly the Salty Tears Tribune was not thinking in terms of that. So you have this article that was written by Peggy Fletcher from the Salt Lake Tribune, of course, denigrating the announcement to build a temple in Russia, for example, that hasn't come to, well, actually it was the one in China, sorry. But she was kind of mockingly writing this article as if the prophet, trying kind of jump the gun, but she's not thinking in terms of prophecy, and she's not thinking in terms of the fact that this will be done, whether or not, the Chinese government wants it or not. And it will be done eventually. So, and it's just really interesting to look through anti-Mormon subreddit, for example. Never go there. It's the most toxic place in the universe. It's like the outer darkness of the internet. But it's so interesting reading the snideness and the comments, but they're not thinking in terms of they're thinking in terms of that President Nelson just wanted to do it just to flex his own ego. But does President Nelson strike you as somebody who is there to flex his own muscles? I mean, like, he's like the most soft-spoken, like just a gentleman, And it's just so, just the narrative that they create is just so absurd, and it's hilarious just to kind of go through and read their poison every once in a while, I guess, because it's somewhat amusing. But yeah, they're not thinking in terms of prophecy. And the way that he talked about the temple being built in Shanghai, China, was he described its attributes as well. He wasn't just saying like there will be a temple. He also described what it would be like. So he's seeing into the future. He's seeing things that haven't been done yet. And he says it will be a small and modest meeting house where people can go to perform temple ordinances, who are already citizens of China, who are already members of the church, where they can do their work. And I don't know, I just found it very interesting to read that. But okay, Melissa, we have another super chat we need to read real fast, and then we can continue with the others here. Welcome. Oh, it's Ed again. Well, thank you for that, Ed. That is so generous. It says, I would be surprised if a first presidency is if the first presidency is formed this weekend. On the other hand, given the hastening, I can't see us being without a first presidency for 6 months. Either way, I'm in for a surprise. Yeah, it will be really interesting to see. That would be unprecedented, Ed, if it was the case that they actually hadn't come to a decision as to what they were going to do with the first presidency. That would be very shocking. I mean, that would be unprecedented. That has never happened before, I don't think. As far as I can remember, there certainly has always been a first presidency. The only reason I could think of where that would be the case is if they had actually received some kind of revelation that it wasn't supposed to follow the same pattern. So that would be really interesting, Ed, if something happened, and maybe that's what they talked about. Maybe that's what, I don't know, that we're wildly speculating here, but maybe they talked about that at President Nelson's deathbed, that, hey, we have to do things a little differently. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thought, isn't it? What do you think about that, Melissa?
Well, one thing that you were saying in one of your videos that I thought was really interesting was, I gotta get it back in my brain now. Let's see. Oh, you were talking about the proclamation to the family.
Yes.
And how they said that when they were working on that and the Lord was revealing that to them, that they saw like the future, like they
Yes.
saw our time. And you go like, oh my gosh, what would that be like to see that? I mean, because we have been tiptoed into it, right? We've had, I mean, definitely, when the prophet and apostles, as you mentioned, were in Rome, that was a hinge point.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing to see. To me, it was a big statement to sit there and say, like, look, this is the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. Here's the apostles just as they were at the time. I'm really curious to know what people's ancestry and lineage is actually from like the Quorum of the 12. That's really interesting to me. Something that I've been working on is compiling something about President Russell M. Nelson. I'm going to put it out next week about, there's some really significant things about President Nelson that a lot of people haven't mentioned. And I know that it was interesting when I talked to our daughters about President Nelson passing, because I was up in the middle of the night watching a live stream and in the chat with some people. And then in the morning, I told our girls about President Nelson passing. And one of them, their reaction was, I thought he was going to be the prophet of the second coming when Christ came back. And I'm like, yeah, I was hoping for that too. So that was one daughter's reaction. One of our twins, it's 11, Emma.
Okay.
And then our other daughter, who's 13, her reaction was, then we know the second coming is coming really soon. And so I thought it was really interesting. They both had that reference of the second coming
with President Nelson. That is really interesting, especially considering, and I think a lot of people kind of felt that as well. And he may very well have ushered in at least one of the appearances of Jesus Christ. And I kind of have that feeling that it is very possible that the meeting at Adam-on-Diamond, the first meeting, has occurred, of which there will be many. I kind of have that feeling. I don't know that for sure, but just based on past statements, where...
And you and I have both wildly speculated, that it was in 2020. And I'm curious if anybody else thinks that as well.
I kind of think that 2020 is a good year for that to happen. It seems like Wendy Nelson in 2018, when she said, imagine that a meeting was occurring, at Adam, she didn't say at Adam-on-Diamond, but a meeting with all the past prophets or something that she said, but with the Savior, she said. But yeah, it definitely seemed like she was dropping hints there. And I know a lot of people probably disagree with that, but I don't know. I think I think there's a good possibility. And April 2020 seemed like a very significant year when they did the Hosanna shout. Actually, was that in April 2020 or am I misremembering?
Well, there was a proclamation to the world, right?
Yeah, there was a proclamation
in 2020.
as well. Let's see, when was the... Let's see. The recent Hosanna shout was done on March 27th of. Oh wait, that's the Kirtland Temple.
Oh, and another thing about the Kirtland Temple that's really interesting to me,
Oh yeah,
because I was
I found
just
it, Melissa.
doing
It's
Come
it's
Follow
April
Me with our
5th,
family,
2020. You guys.
and when they're talking about how they during the Kirtland Temple like dedication that they spoke for like 8 hours.
Yeah,
And
they.
I was like, "Wow, that's a long time." I'm like, "Okay, so that is like all of the Saturday sessions, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
like the first Sunday sessions. That's almost complete general conference in one sitting." What did
Yeah,
they talk about?
just going
That's
and
what I'm like,
going.
"What did they talk about?"
Yeah, they really could talk back then, you guys. Like, and people could sit and listen for a long time too. But yeah, that would have been incredible. And they saw things too. They saw miracles and an outpouring of the Spirit, and they saw angels and they saw, God and his chariot of fire and everything. But yeah, the Hosanna shout was on April 5th of 2020 during Palm Sunday. So I was correct. That seems significant to me.
Yes.
So yeah, but anyway, continue, Melissa, with your thought with regards to what your twins had said. Um, or
Yeah,
would.
so I just thought it was interesting how, I mean, one of that twin had also that's 11, right when the solar maximum cycle was really amping up,
Hmm,
and I think it was even 2 years ago, I think it was in, like, the spring or
yeah.
something. Not quite 2 years ago, but I was just like, "Does anybody else see that the sun seems, like, brighter, like, way brighter? Is it just me?" And I had looked at it because like, it's an 11-year sun cycle, which 11, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's not by accident, but, I was like, "Okay," well, I was having my twins. I was pregnant with twins, so there's a reason why, like, I didn't know what was going on. I was just a little bit busy the last time we got to the solar maximum.
Mm-hmm.
But my daughter, when she saw I brought her attention to the sky, she's like, "Well, that's what it's gonna look like when the second coming happens, mom, when Christ comes." And I was like, "Oh." And I just think it's so interesting because that's the great thing about, like, kids is,
Mm,
like, the veil, it hasn't been so long for them, and sometimes I feel like we just know things by revelation, but to me, it's like the loaves and the fishes, and we were talking about when Mary, when they came to the tomb and there was a boy sitting there. To me, I think that all just directs us, and, like, Joseph Smith being young and going through a process for years before he got the Book of Mormon,
mm-hmm.
to me, that just keeps directing us to look back at the youth and see what they have to teach us and to
Yeah.
not ever take them for granted and to not ignore them. And I mean, as a parent, I have 7 kids, and I can't tell you how many things our kids have taught me,
Yeah.
just their spirits,
Yeah,
they just,
absolutely. Well, and that's really cool too that they had that thought.
I just think
And
it really says something.
yeah, and I
Like
I
they say, add the
agree.
mouths of babes.
I kind of agree. I have that feeling that maybe um and of course it's not confirmed, but maybe the first and a lot of people are saying, well, we can't have had the meeting at Adam and Diamond yet because I wasn't there, right? And but the fact of the matter is that the prophets have said that at least the first meetings of Adam and Diamond, and I say meetings because there will be plural meetings, that was confirmed by Bruce R. McConkie and Joseph Fielding Smith, or Joseph S. Smith, I can't remember which one. But I think it was Joseph Fielding Smith. But there will be multiple meetings, and the first ones will not be known by most people. It will be just a meeting between the leadership at first, and it will be in that meeting, Joseph Smith said, where Jesus Christ will give instructions to help us prepare further for the second coming. And that's kind of, and President Nelson has been all about preparing us for the second coming. And so, of course, as in terms of predictions for this upcoming general conference, preparing for the second coming will be again brought up. I'm certain about that. That certainly is
Oh,
going
yeah.
to be brought up. At this point, it was like it seemed like every single talk last general conference was like, how do we prepare for the second coming? Prepare your kids for the second coming. It's like, and here's Elder Rindland's talk, which was just phenomenal about the parables, the preparatory parables concerning the second coming, and then the prophet, of course, his phenomenal talk. It truly was a masterpiece. Um, And so I wonder, you guys, are we going to get another masterpiece from President Nelson? Just one last talk from him this general conference that was pre-recorded, perhaps. I think there's a good possibility, but if he was that sick, I don't know. It's like, it's kind of hard. And maybe he prepared something, and maybe, President Oaks will be able to deliver it for him. I don't know. It was such a
Or his
masterpiece.
wife,
Or his
Sister
wife.
Nelson.
Yeah, that has happened before, I think. It was...
Yes.
Who was
Is
it?
it Marjorie Pay Hinckley? Is that her name?
Sister Hinckley? I think that's the case. I can't remember if it was her or if it was Howard W. Hunter's wife. No?
Or Kimball. Maybe Kimball.
Kimball, maybe. I know that one of them was very ill and couldn't do the talk, and so they had his wife read this talk for. But yeah, Wendy could get up there and deliver what his final remarks were,
All right, let's see. Should we read some more from the chat?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Joel says, I think Elder Razban's style would be a great compliment to Elder Oaks. His recent Liahona article and BYU devotional demonstrate this. Whoever is called is the right choice, and I will sustain them. Oh, we have not talked about who might be in the first presidency.
Yeah, that's true.
We've not
that's a very good
speculated
thought.
wildly about that.
Yeah.
And there is a possibility that somebody could be in the first presidency that isn't even from the Quorum of the 12.
True.
Because that's happened before, one time, as far as I know.
Oh, who was it?
I learned this from Christian Homestead. It was in one of Jared's videos. He is one that his special mission was like the Missouri area, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
I know there's somebody here in the chat who's going to know this answer, and I can't remember what the name was. Oh, I almost have it, but I'm not sure. But there is somebody. Let's see.
So like off the wall too. So it's just like, it has to be through revelation that this happened, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Sarah Marie says, I love Elder Kieran. It might be the accent. Yes, I love his accent. However, wires from his first talk still run in through my mind as a deep, significant reminder that our Savior is actually pursuing us.
Oh, yes.
Yes, yeah. I love how he said that. And the Church of Joy. That's what I keep coming back to.
Yeah. That was a big
theme.
She
says, I meant words, not wires. Yeah, okay. And then Joel says, Kieran is so warm and endearing. They are all awesome. I also really like Elder Palmer from the 70. Great accent, too.
Yes.
And then Carol Taylor says, watching from Carson City. Is that Nevada?
Yep, Carson City, Nevada. Yep.
And Jelly Bean says, hello, everyone.
Actually, there's probably Carson City in every state, though.
Well, like Boise, Idaho, there's actually several Boises. There's a Boise in New Mexico that I've been to before. Okay. Joel says Palmer would be awesome in the Quorum of the 12. Nilda says, Tandui says, watching from the Philippines.
Welcome,
Yay!
Nilda from the Philippines. We have so many different people watching. So awesome.
Yes. And then Sarah Marie says, Elder Miras from Australia. He's supposed to be released in the firing? What? I think he'd be amazing in the 12.
Released in the
I'm not sure if that said right.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and Donna McGowan says Bednar as new counselor. I think people would wildly speculate and agree that they just have something special with Elder Bednar.
Yeah, Elder Bednar is very good. Well, and just thinking about what has occurred this past September, it seems so relevant to his talk in the space of not many years. And I mean, that talk was prophetically delivered. The timing was prophetic, no doubt about it. And I think that he was certainly, I mean, all of them do, right? But that was just so on point. Anyway, let's continue.
Carol Taylor says, looking forward to sustaining the new prophet, the new president and apostles. Brian Voinovich. Vinovich is saying, watching from Providence, Utah.
Welcome.
And my friend, Christian Zybarth,
Right.
well, Zebarth, I keep saying it wrong.
Zebert.
He's in California, actually. He just
Oh.
says hi. And then, can we briefly mention the video that you and I are going to have coming out?
Which one is that?
That I asked you today. I said, when are you putting
Oh,
that
the
out, Seth?
Enoch, yeah, the City of Enoch one. Yeah, we're going to be publishing a video possibly tomorrow about the City of Enoch. So that's kind of important coming up. So we'll possibly be posting that tomorrow. So
yeah, and so CM Zbarth that you see here in the comments, he did it. We did a City of Enoch one as well, and
oh yeah.
Haystack, he's also in here often. We put that on Love Notes from God if you want to check that out. And it's really cool to see that even though Seth and I did a video of the City of Enoch, it's interesting to see different perspectives and angles that people take things
Yeah.
from. So love for you to see that. And well, okay, we could talk about Three Eye Atlas, but we're going to get off topic because they say that it has turned in the direction of the Earth. I don't know
Oh,
about that.
has it? Let's see if it has. I want to check because there's so
Seth
much
has
news
to
right
know
now.
now, right?
Yeah. Let's ask.
I heard it from like the Bill Nye the Science Guy that he says that, but he said some not so nice things about the church too. So I don't have a lot of respect and appreciation mutually with him. So
Okay, so it says that Three Eye Atlas has not changed directions. Okay, it is following an extremely hyperbolic trajectory, meaning it is moving too fast to be bound by the sun's gravity and will not follow a closed orbit path around the sun. Its speed and trajectory were determined by observations and show it is on a path that will take it out of the solar system, not a change in direction. Okay. So if it's very new news though, however, it's likely that AI won't be able to detect it at the moment.
So yeah, people can let us know in the chat if they have
if there's
seen
a
or heard
source, let us
anything they
know.
felt that was valid about that.
Yeah, we need sources, you guys. Sources.
Oh, and I see Dust Wave. All right, let's see. Now the chat just bumped me, so I gotta get back to where we were.
Yeah, ZM Zybarth was purple C.
Okay, let's see. Christian comments a lot though, so I'll take a second. All right, hold on. Oh wow, we have a lot of comments. Thanks everybody.
Yes, we do. Thank you. And we have a new super chat too, by the way. I can
Oh
read
yeah,
that
go
while
ahead
we're waiting.
while I find this.
It's from Ed again. Thank you, Ed, so much. You've given us 3 super chats tonight. And anybody who's interested in making sure that their chat gets read, make sure to send in your super chats. We're going to try to read all of them, but we definitely appreciate your contributions. And this is just one way to make sure that your chat gets read. So Ed writes, how about Elder Uchtdorf in the first presidency? He was a counselor in the first presidency before. I think that Elder Uchtdorf would do a pretty good job, you guys. I think that he is definitely a balancing voice as well. And I haven't really heard much from Elder Uchtdorf recently. He doesn't often post on social media, so we don't talk about him a lot on the channel. The one time I did talk about him was when he kind of released that surprise video, and it was after Easter. And it was such a good video where he kind of suggested that we might miss the second coming if we're not kind of paying attention. So I really enjoyed that, and I did an entire video on it. Super, super good video. But yeah, he's been kind of quietly in the background. It'd be kind of interesting if he came back into the foreground a little bit more.
And I found the spot.
Oh, good.
Okay, so Ed, and I think this is the same one who's been sending the super chats. Oh, it bumped me again. Come on, man. Shoot.
I can read it. It says, watching from Norwood, Missouri. Welcome, welcome, Ed. Just saw a rendering of the Springfield, Missouri temple. So excited. That's really exciting. Yeah, we're going to be talking about temple speculations coming up, you guys. So hang on there. We have some statistics and maps to look at. So it's not just going to be wild guessing. We have a place to look that will help us to have a good idea of what might be possible. So, but yeah, let's continue reading these chats here. So Chris Zybarth says, yes, hopefully new scripture. Yeah, we've been talking about that a lot on this channel. I think that is very likely. I think that the timing is right, you guys. Um, I think it's very likely. Well, I have to make a kind of a correction, I think, from one of my videos. I said, I think it's very likely that they make the family proclamation actual, like, confirmed scripture. I think that's a good possibility. I think it's possible that they make a few edits to how they worded things, because the way that they did it back in 1995 was that they used the word gender. And of course, that word has been completely twisted and misconstrued to where gender is now completely divorced from your biological sex now in our modern vernacular. So I think that they will clarify that in the family proclamation. And I think there's a good possibility that they make it scripture. However, I will put a caveat on the end of that. Based on what, who was it who was speaking about it? Based on one of the general authorities who was talking about the family proclamation very recently. Oh, it was Elder Razban. That's what it was in his BYU devotional. So he talked about it in these terms, and it kind of gave me a little bit of more insight into how the 12 apostles look at the family proclamation and how Gordon B. Hinckley viewed it at the time that it was released. And he kind of viewed it as a reiteration of confirmed doctrine already. So the way that they viewed it was just kind of like, okay, we are presenting this, it's already doctrine. We don't need to confirm that it's scripture again, because we're just taking and reaffirming these things that are true. And they're already taking it from scripture. So that kind of seems what Gordon B. Hinckley's view of it was at the time. However, I think that it would be useful to canonize it, because there are people who do not. There are specific warnings in it that are not really found anywhere else, and they're for our modern times. And of course, it's like, I mean, what seems obvious now, what seemed obvious back in 1995 is not necessarily obvious today. So I'll just say that, and I think that there's a good possibility that they make it scripture. So, but
well,
yeah,
and something you mentioned before too, about Native Americans and how it'd be interesting to get scripture from there.
Yeah.
I think I said this to you before. I could be wrong, but in 2020, did I tell you, and are you aware that the church helped to record the verbal histories of the Native Americans?
Did they now? That's interesting. When was it you said?
In 2020.
2020. So it's super recently and relevant. All right. 2020 is a good year, you guys.
And also in in Canada, they were having a celebration. I can't remember what it's called, but they made like a little trailer for it, and they were celebrating the church and like indigenous people in Canada. And I was half expecting the second coming or something to happen, something amazing. It was still really cool to hear their stories and understand these different gatherings that are happening of different people. But yeah, so that happened in 2020 also, which was just
that's really cool. They might have
another
found
thing I thought
something,
was really significant. But one thing you mentioned too about Russia is, when you talked about that, I felt the same thing that the one that was I don't remember who was doing that with Stephen Jones. The guy who was he talking to? I don't remember.
Who?
And that Stephen Jones, Get Real with Stephen Jones, and
Oh,
you were
yes,
doing
yes,
that
yes.
video earlier.
I
Who
know
was
what
he
you're saying.
talking to again?
He was
Was it a
talking to
representative of the temple?
Elder Wilson, I think is his. Oh my gosh, you guys, I get so involved with it. I think it's Elder Wilson, Elder Evan Wilson.
But yeah, he's the one. Anyways, he's the one that shared about how the prophet, how he felt like the prophet had done that so that the saints would know that it's like the Lord sees them and is aware of them, and like it's like help is on the way. You were in the plans.
Yes.
And that's exactly
Absolutely.
exactly what I felt when that happened too. That the Lord was like,
I'm aware of you.
I felt like the Lord was like putting his mark. You know, like when they have the flag, when they would like conquer a territory or whatever, or like the moon, they're like, we've arrived, put the flag down. I feel like that's kind of what he did with Russia, with the adversary. Like,
yeah,
this is my land. These are my people, and I'm coming.
absolutely.
Like, I'm coming with a temple for these people. And like Ireland, I think I mentioned this to you before. Literally, when they mentioned the temple in Ireland, because when you look at the map and you see temples on the earth, you're like, okay, well, where doesn't have a temple yet? And Ireland, when they announced one for Ireland, I literally was like, yes,
Yeah, they
because
need
I have
one.
ancestry in Ireland. So
Mm-hmm.
that was awesome for me. But I do have to say the Shanghai temple, that was like the Russian, the Shanghai one, like you already paired those together. Those are kind of similar circumstances. And I have an aunt and an uncle that sold their home and they just travel going on missions. And one of the places they went was China.
Mm.
So I'm going to be sharing some kind of exclusive, interesting things about China myself later.
Oh, okay, cool. All
I have
right.
not
Well,
gotten to that yet, but it's coming.
all
And she
right.
listens to your channel, by the way, too.
Awesome. Um, where were we? All right, we kind of left off on Lindsay Black, I think. Lindsay Black just says hello, and it's Quinn Keller says Elder Bednar and President Eyring as counselors. That would be very good. I think that President Eyring does a pretty good job as well right now. I think that what strikes me so much about how President Eyring is that he is one person. He is constantly hearing the voice of the Spirit. Like he's always saying, I heard these words in his stories, and I find that remarkable. And he's such a good example of what we should be listening for as well. So like we need to stop and we need to quiet our own minds and we need to listen for that revelation that we've been instructed to kind of receive, right? So I think that would be great.
And he
Elder
shows
Bednar.
that with that flood story of the
Mm.
dam that broke.
Yeah.
I think that I felt really significant about that. Like maybe that was a foreshadowing warning for people to be like, feel secure in your covenants.
Mm-hmm.
Be confident to see the Lord,
Mm-hmm.
as President Nelson said.
Yeah. Have your confidence wax strong in the presence of God. Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Oh, and Shauna Zeisker. Shauna says from Layton, Utah, welcome. Welcome to the channel. Chris Zeithbart says low likelihood that we'll know about the new first presidency during this coming conference. Okay. Ed says general conference Adam. LOL. I was just
Because Adam comes before Eve.
yeah. Nola says I don't even like to speculate because I think it's all to God and let us know. Okay, well, that's okay. Chris Seitbarth says, looking like this conference will be a rare one led by the Quorum of the 12. Maybe. I don't know if that's
The
ever
church
happened
keeps
before.
getting in the news, so maybe that will happen that way too and draw more attention to the church. It would
Maybe.
make sense,
Yeah,
actually.
it could happen. And Ed says, message retracted here. Randy Davis says, Northeast Oklahoma, President Holland and Elder Bednar. Oh, that would be good. President Holland has been such a powerhouse recently, too. He is constantly posting on social media. And I really, really love that. I think that just is so aware of how he can reach people intimately with social media in a
And
very
also, he looked really good when he was speaking at President Nelson's like
yeah.
memorial service.
Yeah, maybe he was preserved for this reason, I don't know. That's a good
Had no
possibility.
oxygen. That was great. Like standing there. I don't know if he was standing or sitting.
He
Did
was
you notice?
standing, I think. Which is really remarkable actually cuz he was going through I mean kidney failure. I think he had to go through dialysis and
Hmm.
whatnot, and that's very rare to come back from something like that when at that point. But yeah, he's back and ready to go. It looks like, and he's been posting so constantly. But yeah, um,
So we have CM
yeah,
Zebarth. He says
he's
Larry
currently
Echohawk
emeritus.
is currently emeritus.
Oh, is he? Okay, so
Yeah.
I think he'd have to be taken out of sort of semi-retirement there. But yeah,
But it could
yeah, it
happen.
could. That would be cool.
It would certainly get attention, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. I was hoping for Peter Johnson. Yeah, that's a good one. Or Elder Dubé. I can't remember how to pronounce that. Dubé, I think it is. Elder Corbett, Will one day be an apostle. Elder Corbett, that's a good thought.
And Joseph Peterson says that.
Yep. Okay, and then Peter M. Johnson came to talk to us here in Canada for our state conference. It was so inspiring. Loved working with him to become better. Oh yeah, make sure you guys send me in your state conference reports. You can email me your detailed notes at zionrising7777@gmail.com. So that's fantastic. I'd love to hear more about that. Lindsay Black says, I'm so excited for conference. Me too. I'm so ready for conference. I'm so ready just to relax and just to listen. That would be fantastic right now. And I want to make cinnamon rolls and I want to be at home and I just want to relax. So, all right. Could be, Chris says. Okay. Maybe someone should be called out of emeritus status. Maybe. I mean, there's so many of them right now, so I mean, that's a good possibility. We already read Ed's comment.
Yep.
Okay. I love Bishop Kausei. Yeah, I think that he might be a good possibility. I think that he's been there for quite some time. Joseph Peterson says you should get an updated list. Yeah, I know. It's hard to find.
It's going to get updated anyways, won't it?
Yeah, it will.
There's going to be a new list.
Uh-huh. It will be.
Yep.
All right.
I'm like, any list now is going to be old.
All right. It looks like we kind of made it to the bottom, you guys. Well, actually, there's still... Oh, my goodness. It just skipped all the way to the bottom.
Okay. Well, I'll start then until we get to the super chat. So Christian Zybra says, new first presidency counselor, yes. Could be someone who's not even a general authority right now.
Mm-hmm. True.
Okay. Goblin 2004 says, hello from St. George. Tina Giles says Larry Echohawk is his name. Larry J. Echohawk. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Jana Wills, I'm not sure how to say it. I thought that they would call someone until after the prophet was buried. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know that that's a thing.
No, I don't know about that.
And if somebody knows, tell us.
Yeah.
Lindsay Black says, I'm not sure who to guess. The Lord works in mysterious ways at times. And CM Zyber says, no new first presidency until after conference. And then he says, this time, and Lindsay Black says, it's almost like President Nelson picked this time on purpose. Ha! And she says, the timing is just so interesting.
It is very interesting.
And then Goblin 2004 says, my wife's birthday is on October 5th, and hopefully we will be able to celebrate her birthday tomorrow, and our 24th anniversary is on October 13th. Well, cool. Congratulations and happy birthday.
Yeah.
And Christian says, this time the church has announced that it will be conference, then the funeral 2 days later, then sometime after that, the first presidency gets reorganized. And was that what you had just read? That
no,
it said
not after AI? General conference. What I read was that they will do the solemn assembly during general conference Saturday morning session.
Yeah, that's right. That's what you read.
Yeah. That seems likely to me. I don't see them letting a time period lapse where there isn't a prophet. I think that they will take advantage of, Yeah,
I'm with you, but man, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'll read a few more till we get up into the super chat if you want to read after that or whatever. Goblin 2004 says something the new apostle is from the presidency of the 70, but that is necessary. So sometimes it's from the presidency of the 70.
Okay, yeah. Sometimes a new apostle is from the presidency of the 70, but that is necessary. I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to say there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that
Tyson
does
Price
happen.
says, I have a feeling that the BYU Idaho president will be called to be the new apostle.
Interesting. That would be kind of a new thing, wouldn't it?
And he hasn't been in that position for very long.
No.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Christian Zyber says new apostle doesn't have to be a current general authority, which I talked about before.
True.
Okay, now we're at the Ed super chat.
All right.
Do you want to read after that, or should I keep reading, or what do you want to do?
I think that we need to get going with the rest of our program here, you guys. Again, make sure to send in super chats if you're really wanting your comments to be read. We're gonna try to read them all, but we're running out of time. We're going to try to end this live stream at a reasonable time.
Not 11 o'clock.
Yeah, not 11 o'clock, and people just start tuning out at that point. But what we should get into right now is temple predictions, you guys. I want to hear from you about where you think and where you hope a new temple will be built. So we have some data here, and there is a really cool blog website here, you guys. And it is called Growth of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's just a blog that somebody has put together. I know the guy who did this, and he spends a lot of time compiling a lot of data. And what he looks at is, the membership activity. He looks at the number of stakes, and he looks at the availability of temples to analyze where a new temple will be built. And he has this really cool map here on his website. And you can see here that the red are all temples that have been announced and are in construction. The yellow is the more likely temple locations. He determines that this is more likely to happen than not at some point in the future. And then the blue dots are less likely, but still a possibility. So I think that this is really cool, you guys. And,
that is so much work. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it is. Look at all this. Look at all the United States. And then he has so many blue dots in the United States. So that's possible. But he considers Augusta, Maine to be a more likely location for a temple to be announced this general conference. So that's kind of
cool. Yeah, because there's not one in Maine, right?
Yeah,
there's not a temple in Maine.
Look how far away you'd have to go to Massachusetts in order to, do temple work, or Connecticut, or even up here to Nova Scotia in Canada. So in Maine, it seems like they're overdue for a temple in this location. And it's in a nice central location. You can see all the highways going into it. Can you guys see this map, or is it too small? I guess we can try
I can see it. I can see it pretty well.
Oh, good. Okay, we don't need to see this anymore, but can we collapse it? All right. Can you see the whole map here? Is it kind of just wonky? All right. It looks good. Yeah, so we have lots of different predictions. I thought it was really interesting, Melissa, and I did that episode recently where we talked about the disasters that have been happening in Utah. We've been talking about what could be coming this general conference that Satan is trying to stop, right? And what I found really interesting was the fact that wasn't reported on in the news, but during the recent New Mexico temple dedication that was done by Elder Anderson, it is reported to me, and I can't confirm this because it wasn't reported in any news station, but he said that he was there. He said that Elder Anderson said that there would one day be a temple in the Navajo reservation at Four Corners. And so I found that was really interesting. Yeah.
At Four Corners, where those four states come together.
Yeah, exactly. But as you can see, there's no prediction on this website that predicts Four Corners as a possible site. But you can see this is the Farmington temple that was just dedicated by Elder Anderson. So yeah, since they didn't report it on the news, I can't confirm that or not. But I just found it really interesting that those two tornadoes occurred, right after the death of Charlie Kirk. On the 13th, going into the 15th, there's two tornadoes in San Juan County in southern Utah here. So I don't know, maybe that's an interesting indicator as to, Satan doesn't want this to happen, so he's raging in the earth, right, and causing all these things to happen. Now, another location where we had that deep, deep earthquake that was in the mantle of the earth. It's a very rare type of earthquake that only a handful have been recorded by seismologists. We talked about that.
Was that Vernal?
Occurred, near Vernal. They actually have one temple in Vernal, you guys, which was built or dedicated in 1997. It was announced in 1994. So it's been quite a while since they've had a new temple in this location. But he predicts that Roosevelt, the neighboring town, might get, it's unlikely, but they have 5 different stakes here, but maybe they'll get a temple in Roosevelt. And that was where this earthquake occurred. And I found it very interesting too. That these locations where these disasters occurred were both very near to Indian reservations. This is by the Shoshone Indian reservation, and this one down here is the Navajo Indian reservation. So
yeah, I didn't even notice that. That's really cool. That is very interesting.
Yeah. So I was thinking about that. I think that I don't know. I think that Roosevelt might be due for another temple. And I don't know, maybe that's why all we try to find explanations for why bad things happen, right? But
Well, and
maybe
I
that's
will
the case.
tell you, it's interesting because something I sent you my state conference from like our last 2 state conferences because I didn't turn in the first one. So
Mm,
I sent both of them.
cool.
But they were about like the Garden of Eden, really,
Oh
which
yeah.
people would say, well, how is that a second coming sign? Or how that's not about the second coming. But the earth is going to return to its paradisiacal glory. It's going
Mm,
to turn into as it was in the Garden of Eden before things were like corrupted and that type of thing. And was really interesting today. I actually happened to watch a video of some Navajo teachings, and it is talking about the women and Eve, and like kind of a premortal existence. And so, which is actually what spurred me on to talk to my friend Rachel. We'll be bringing that up on Conference Eve, about Eve. And so
mm,
I think there's so many things that Native Americans and all other cultures know. And so it's amazing to me. I've felt like since about the time President Nelson was put in as prophet to just not even watch entertainment stuff that much. Like I'm always educating myself, like knowledge of the world, like being prepared for like no knowledge to be withheld. I feel like the more I put in time to learn things myself, the Lord will bless me. That when the veil comes off, that I'm not shocked as much as some others are because I've been studying and preparing.
well,
I
that
don't
would
know.
be
Just
cool.
my thought.
Well, yeah, that's very good. I like those thoughts about the Garden of Eden too, because the earth will be renewed and go back to that state, right? So that's a very good thing to study. If you want to know what the conditions of earth will be like at the millennium, study Eden, right? Study Zion. Zion is Eden, basically. But yeah, let's continue looking at some of these predictions here. So we have 2 yellow squares here in one in Cottonwood Heights. He finds this to be very likely with 20 to 30 stakes in the area.
Hmm.
And another prediction is down here in, where is this? Right by the highway in Utah. By Zion's Bank Stadium. Is this in, where is this? Bluffdale, or, well, in between Bluffdale and Rosecrest. So I don't have
Hmm.
like kind of by the Walmart, by the highway. So interesting. Okay, and then we have just one blue dot, he says, where it might be likely to have a temple announced in Nephi. That would be interesting. So my grandparents are actually from Nephi.
Uh,
So that would be interesting to have a temple all the way down here, because they do actually have to drive, a little bit to get up to the Payson Temple. So yeah, that would be interesting.
well, and I think it's interesting too when people talk about like, well, Utah has so many temples, but
We have a
as
lot of
we've discussed
people.
before, Idaho and Utah have the highest like the highest percentage of members like for the states in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
For those states, we are the highest LDS like percentage population. And so as I've done temple work, I've heard that they're like, oh, in Utah, we can hardly get up just a couple names in, just because of how we operate things. So we have a lot of temple workers that will be an example in like a sealing session. And so I don't know, for whatever reason, how they operate it in Utah, they just said that they hardly get any sealings done at a time if you go in for a session. And
Mm-hmm.
so obviously there's the demand, and we know that there's people, my husband and I, when we have looked before, like at moving and that type of thing, and we looked at Salt Lake, we're like, wow, it's really a hub. There's like all these main travel roads that come through Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And so it would make sense that there's a lot of population
That's the
growth there. I
crossroads of
know,
the
what's
West,
the
right?
growth like there for you where you're at?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's so busy at the temple all the time.
Yeah.
Um, it's constantly busy. So it would be great to have more, less traffic in the temple, so you can kind of have that reverence, and kind of find a little bit of quiet.
And because there's a need for it, obviously, then.
Yeah, there is. I mean, people are just, we go to the temple here in Utah. So, and I'm
Which
sure
is
that's the
great.
case a lot of places where we're having this influx of membership. But another place where he kind of predicts is with the blue dot. So it's less likely, he says, in Farmington. So that's kind of interesting.
There's one in Farmington, isn't there?
I don't know. Let's see. There's one
I swear. I remember.
in Layton.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one in Layton and there's one in Bountiful.
But
It
not
doesn't
in
look like there's
Farmington?
one in
Where I thought there
Farmington.
was.
No, it doesn't look like there is according to this map. Maybe he's wrong. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, then that would make sense if you're, showing those dots that far apart, that would kinda
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of in the
the
place
missing dot.
between, right? So yeah, and that's and then we already mentioned the Bluffdale one. But yeah, that's kind of just what he's predicting. There's some more blue dots. We won't have to cover all of them, but I guess watch for those at this upcoming general conference in California. Oh, let's see.
Wow, he's predicted a lot.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
predicted a lot of blue dots. They're less likely, he says, than the yellow dots. Just keeping that in mind.
Oh, so
But
where are some more yellow dots
let's
then?
look
Those are
for
the
some
ones we
more
need to bring up,
yellow
I
here in
guess.
South America for our South America
Oh,
watchers. So he says that there's a good possibility that Santa Maria will get one here in where are we? Are we in Argentina? Oh no. Oh wait. I can't see the lines. I think that there's Paraguay, there's Uruguay, where's Argentina? I'm not seeing Argentina. The lines are not very distinct. Oh no, Argentina's down here. Okay, so yeah. Is
it
this
said, didn't
still a
it, for
part
a
of
second there?
Brazil or is it a part of Uruguay? I can't tell. Uruguay and Paraguay. Well, in any case, I can't tell if, I think this is the border or it's just a river. I think this is Brazil up here, you guys. So Santa Maria, Brazil. So he says that this is likely because they have 11 stakes and 1 district. And it would be very hard for people to travel, of course, to the nearest temple, which, I mean, this is a massive amount of distance, you guys.
Yeah,
This
it
is
is.
massive. So yeah, the nearest temple would have to be here, Rivera, Uruguay, and they would have to cross borders if they're in Brazil. And then Porto Alegre, Brazil temple here. Uh-oh, we lost Melissa, you guys. Oh, looks like we have a super chat, though. Another super chat, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Tyson Pierce says maybe the east side of the Salt Lake Valley will get a temple announced. Maybe in Cottonwood Heights, or yeah, we just looked at that possibility. Cottonwood Heights is on this map, so, or is it Cottonwood Heights that we just announced, Melissa? Oh, she's getting her headphones on. So they say, Melissa Tyson, who just gave us a super chat, says maybe Cottonwood Heights or East Mill Creek. And didn't we just mention Cottonwood? Can you hear me, Melissa?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I can hear you.
Yeah. I hope everything's going okay. All right. Yeah, so down here is the closest temple that they had in Brazil. So that's a very long ways away. But yeah, let's look for some other yellow dots, you guys. Oh, wow. So they're kind of predicting a blue dot down here. All the way down at the end of the world, right? Where Elder... oh, man. Who was it? Elder Cook? No, Elder Stevenson. Sorry, how could I forget? Elder Stevenson went down to the end of the world. Where was he? But yeah, they need a temple down here, you guys. This would be ridiculous to have to travel all the way down here from Chile, all the way up into Argentina or to Puerto Monte. Or Puerto Montt in Chile. But yeah, that would be a huge distance to travel. This would be, that's a massive distance. So yeah, that's really interesting to see. But now let's go over to Africa, you guys. We have a lot
Yes.
of yellow
Oh,
dots in
yes.
Africa.
Look at all those. Wow.
Look at that.
And I live stream with my friend Gabriel Mira,
Mm-hmm.
and he is in Nairobi, Kenya, where they just built a temple.
Oh
And
yeah.
he says that there is not enough missionaries to teach everybody that wants to learn about the
Yeah,
church.
there are
So
so
it
many.
makes perfect sense to me that there would be all these temples being built in Africa.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're having a crazy amount of growth. And also, Melissa, I think that the new Africa, well, Africa won't be replaced for a long time, but I think that the new Africa might be Pakistan, or Mongolia, from what I've been hearing.
Oh,
So, yeah, there's a
where
lot of
the
interest in
gospel is
Pakistan
growing
despite the
wildly.
danger. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, we have a possible location here. He says in Bo, Sierra Leone. So that's really interesting. We've already have a temple here in Sierra Leone, in Freetown, Sierra Leone Temple. So right down here on the coast. And Sierra Leone was actually one of the places where, because a while ago we did a video with Luke Hansen, who typically appears on Ward Radio, but he came and did an interview with us about his mission. He served in Sierra Leone, and he served in two different locations because they had like a disease go through. They had Ebola outbreak, so he had to move, and I think he went to Sierra Leone. But in any case, Cote de Ivory. I think that this is where he was initially. So they have a location proposed here in Yamoussoukro. I don't know how to pronounce these things, you guys. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. They have 6 stakes and 4 districts. But yeah, and they have a second one here, down here right here in Yaupugang, Abidjan. This is just where they dedicated the temple Elder Razban did. And this is the temple that they recently dedicated right in 2025 by Elder Razban. I remember that. So this is really interesting that they would get another one here because there's 10 stakes in this location. So that's really remarkable. The growth there is just incredible. We have a possible one here in Takoradi. We have one here in Ghana. We went over to the Ghana, the country Ghana. They propose a good possibility might be here in Tema, Ghana. Lomé, interesting. This is another country. Which country is this? This is Togo. Benin. Let's see if there's any in Benin. No. A new temple proposed in Ibadan, Nigeria. A temple proposed possible in Port Harcourt, Nigeria. It's all across this coast right here. That's really interesting, isn't it? I guess this would be like
I'm just guessing that must be where the population is.
Yeah, where most of the people are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at this. This is a hot spot right here. So we already
yeah,
have
because they already
temples.
have 2 and they need a 3rd.
Yeah. So that's really remarkable. This is like what you'd see, like such close proximity. So you have
like Utah or Idaho.
Yeah. Brazzaville,
I mean,
Republic of the
where I
Congo.
live, we have the Nampa. I mean, I can get to the 2 different temples in 20 minutes from me.
Oh, that's remarkable.
The Meridian Temple and the Boise Temple, and now they're building a Caldwell one. So that one might be probably 20 minutes away also. So
Wow.
3 temples within 20 minutes of me in different directions.
That's cool. We'll have to look at Idaho next. Well, after I want to go to the Philippines. The reason why I'm looking at Africa though is because it was specifically in that church trailer that they just released. So I think that that's additional evidence that they're looking at Africa for new temples. So they released that trailer today, you guys. And
wasn't that like the second time they've done a general conference trailer?
Yeah, it's only the second time in history that they've ever created trailers. I mean, last time they did 3, so we're going to be watching carefully for more trailers coming out, but it seems that we're getting pretty close here, so they only have tomorrow and Saturday to release new trailers, and Saturday's general conference. So
and also, if you guys haven't seen a Missionary Universe is a YouTube channel, and they had do an awesome general conference trailer.
Oh yeah, he just makes them up though, right? He just creates one for general conference. But yeah, I enjoy that. That's kind of fun to do. But this is the
They're
official
just
trailer.
amazing.
Yeah,
So good.
no, it's fun. Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. Okay, right
Malawi?
here in
Oh.
Lilongwe
Hmm.
or Lilongwe. Lilongwe, I think is how it's pronounced. Interesting. And then we have Tasmania or Tanzania, sorry. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Very cool. Oh yes, and this is the only landlocked country I think in the. Oh no, Zimbabwe is.
Yeah, both of them do.
Oh, Lesotho doesn't have one yet. This is the country I was thinking of. This is the only landlocked country that's completely fitting inside of another country. So,
No, there's that other one right there. Yeah, you
no, but
just got on.
Eswatini actually borders this right here. This only has. It's entirely encompassed in South Africa.
Inside of a country.
Yeah. Yeah, Eswatini has 2 borders, so that's what I meant. But yeah, that's really cool. And they already have a temple here. Oh, this one's just announced, so it hasn't been actually built yet here in Madagascar. So that's cool. I think that they're really focusing on the islands as well. Have you noticed that? Like in that general conference trailer that they produced, they really focused on the islands. They were focusing on the Philippines. They were focusing on Hawaii. And it seems to me like they're very focused on building temples on these islands where it's so hard to get to the temple. And they realize how important it is for the protection in the last days. But yeah, the Philippines right here. So yeah, right now, you guys.
Is that right?
Yeah, they only have 3 temples in operation, regardless of what you see here on the map. These
Oh,
are all just announced or under construction, but they only have 3. And so this is really a remarkable place because look at all
look
these.
how close some of those are. There's like a little string there that are just next to each other.
Yeah, right here.
I mean, not next to each other, but
Alabang, we have, and this hasn't been built yet, but they're anticipating that growth as well. Like a temple being announced in a certain location, it is in anticipation of growth as well. So,
well, see, and I have several coworkers from the Philippines, and I know the family is really it's central to the creator's plan, and it is central to them.
oh yeah,
Family is so important to them.
yeah, family is very important. So where he
Yeah, 2 of
predicts
my
that.
cousins in the same family both serve their missions in the Philippines. So,
Oh, cool. That would be really cool. Like to visit one of these days. It looks really nice on the coast for sure. Well, okay. So what he predicts on his map is one in Angeles, and he predicts another one possibly to be announced here in San Pablo City. Okay, but I mean, there's lots of different possibilities. He's got this blue one up here, which is less likely, but he's got Cambatuan, Philippines, and let's see, he's got Sagay, Philippines. He's got Tagbiljaran, or I think that's how you pronounce it. Tagbil Bilaran. Not sure how to pronounce it. Butuan and General Santos, Philippines. So, yeah. Oh, and right in this little island too. This one's like kind of isolated from all the other ones.
that would seem like a really good location, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Puerto Princesa. the princess port. So that's cool. Papua New Guinea down here. These 2 are proposed. Nothing yellow down here though. Australia. What's going on, Australia? They're island of the sea, right? Technically, they're an entire continent, but they're kind of a part of the Philippines, I guess. But yeah, they don't have any yellow down in Australia, down under. Let's see. Are we missing any yellow dots over here? Oh yeah, we were gonna go look at Idaho just to make sure we didn't miss anything in Idaho. Because look up here, we missed one. Rigby, Idaho. We were just there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, for vacation, we were in. Where were we? We went up to Island Park, and we were going into Yellowstone from Island Park. So that was really fun. But yeah, Rigby has a new temple. And what was really interesting is that they actually have, and we didn't realize that these two Rexburg temples are like right next to each other. So like they have two, and this one's under construction. We saw it being built as we drove past. So that was
Well, you
kind of
got
fun.
BYU, Idaho. You got people getting married. You got a bunch of students.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and they've got one here too in Evanston. Evanston, Wyoming. No, that's cool. All right. I think that we covered Africa, the Philippines. Oh yeah, we got to look at Europe now too, because Europe, according to Elder Oaks and Elder what was his name? Oh, I can't remember what his name is. But they recently were talking in Brussels, right? And he talked about how now is the time for Europe's growth. So we have to look at Europe because we're seeing a lot of growth now from people who are joining the church. And we're seeing they're rejecting kind of like those old creedal traditions, and they're rejecting those and coming to the restored gospel because they didn't realize that the restored gospel is different, right? So, yeah, it doesn't look like we have any yellow dots here, but we do have a lot of blue. And you were talking about Ireland, so this must be the one that they announced just recently in Dublin. They have one in North London here, possible in Cardiff, Wales, and Sunderland, England. Interesting. I know that for a lot of people, it's kind of hard in Europe because they do have to travel quite a long ways. In Poland, they don't have any temples, for example, so they have to travel to Switzerland.
Yeah, to another country. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Well, and
really
even my
long.
brother-in-law, he lived up in Washington, and his closest temple was in Canada.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that would be. Oh my gosh, that
we
would
just
be
don't think about needing a passport or whatever.
to go to the
you know.
temple. My goodness. Yeah, thankfully in the European Union they kind of can travel a little bit more freely, but oh yeah, Spain. Spain here.
Oh, there's one.
Possible blue dot here. Not a yellow dot, but a blue one. Still good because they have 6 stakes. That's kind of impressive for that little area down here. In Murcia.
Marcia?
Murcia.
Murcia?
Well, you makes kind of an ooh, like so Murcia. Murcia probably is how it's pronounced. Murcia.
Shouldn't you be rolling the R too?
Murcia.
There you go.
Madrid. It's sort of like a light, without double R's, it's kind of a light roll, but that's the only blue one in Spain. Toulouse in France. Yep. Wow, look how they don't have any temples really except for in Paris. So that would be good to have one down here. And Andorra as well is kind of its own little area. They would probably go to France or to Barcelona. Milan. No more in Italy. Yeah, they have to go to like Switzerland. Munich. Interesting. And then here, let's look at the ones. So we have Ukraine, Kiev. And then the one that was announced in Moscow on April 1st of 2018. Mongolia. Pakistan. So yeah, there's been a lot of interest in Pakistan, but it's kind of interesting to see the growth that's happening in these far-flung areas of the world. Interesting. India. Uh-oh, we lost our map. But yeah, what do you think about that, Melissa? I think that's kind of covers all of the temple predictions, the possible locations. It's kind of interesting to speculate about all the places where temples could be built.
Well, and then of course, like I said, we'll have to have a poll that says like, how many temples do you think? Because I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty hard to like list. I mean, you could list some locations and stuff. People can add on to the poll. You can make it so they can add on to it with their predictions. But yeah, like how many? Give a range or something. Maybe we're like, okay, I think 10. 10. I think 10 to 20. I think 10, 20 to 30.
Oh, that would be cool. Let's
I mean, I'm always waiting for, like, 50. Like, blow me away, you know?
yeah. Now, it looks like I can do a multiple choice poll. Hmm. Let's see how
Like I said,
many.
that stuff's gonna be lost in the chat in a while, but, I mean, if you wanna put it in the chat too, I mean, that's cool for those that are here.
Yeah. 1 to 10,
And
10 to.
I'm trying to remember if we had another super chat, but I know we haven't read anything from Dustwave, and Dustwave is really good at being on live streams and things like that, so I feel like we gotta read something that Dustwave says.
Yes, let's do that.
Um,
Because we love Dustwave.
so
He
let's see,
helps
I
us a lot.
know we were at, um oh,
The poll.
I
Yeah.
see your, poll, yes. I'm going for sky's the limit.
Yeah, I think that would be cool.
Yay! A lot of people are with me,
I hope so.
woo!
That would be really cool.
Rise Zion and, hurrah for Israel.
Yes. Uh-oh, where'd Melissa go? Oh,
Let's
there's Melissa. All
see.
right, we can read some more chat now.
Yeah, I saw you, but then well, I didn't see you. Yeah, you were gone, but then you lost me, I guess, but oh, good. Uh Okay, so we stopped reading on where Ed did $10.
Yeah, the yellow super chat.
So Christian says, I'm going to say Christian because that's my friend and I know his name.
Oh,
Says Nelson and Oakes were not general authorities when they were called to be apostles.
okay.
They weren't general authorities.
Interesting.
Okay, Lindsay Black says, I'm sad President Nelson won't be there for the dedication of the Salt Lake Temple. Yeah, and I remember
Yeah,
that
he was
being
looking
brought up.
forward to that, I think.
Yeah. David Swenson says WW3 coming. And I've already said my personal feeling about that. That's already like a 2020. That's when that started for sure, in my opinion, because
Interesting. Just because of the
they've been
conflicts that have been
trying
going on.
to fight against us.
Yeah, I
So.
mean, like, it's kind of interesting if we consider what a world war would look like in terms of modern day, what that would look like. And we already kind of have drawn sort of lines, but we're not going to, it's possible that we don't actually come out and fight each other except through economics, except through, technology. And it's kind of like we have drawn sort of these divisions between China, Russia, and the communist countries, that are not friendly to Western values, and there's kind of everybody else. So it's kind of a world war already. But we do have to see that kind of battle, against Israel. So will be interesting to see what comes up next. And I kind of think that there is a good possibility, because what I think will happen, Melissa, let me just give you my prediction in terms of what I think is what I see happening.
Reasonable or wild?
It's not wild. It's actually something that I think that this is a really good possibility of happening. So right now we have a problem in Europe because Europe is reliant upon Russia for its natural gas. Okay. So what Israel has been proposing to do, because they own a huge it's an oil field, but it's a natural gas field as well in the Mediterranean Sea under Cyprus. Okay, and Cyprus is a very significant location, because of the ships of Tarshish. Yeah. Well, what is it? It's not the ships of Tarshish. It's both the ships of Tarshish and the I'm drawing a blank here, you guys. The ships of oh, well, I'll think of it later. But in any case, what they're proposing to Israel is proposing to do, because they own this, is to run a pipeline up through Cyprus, up through friendly parts of Cyprus into Turkey and into Europe. So in that way, Europe can replace its natural gas reliance upon Russia. Okay, because they are in trouble. They rely heavily on Russian gas. But if they were to do that, that would threaten Russia's interests. And so that is a possible vector for conflict, for Russia to move down from the North countries, as prophecy predicts, that Gog of Magog will attack with his allies down from the north and attack Israel at the Battle of Armageddon. So that's kind of what I see happening. And then the ships of Tarshish, which represents the kind of, some people kind of attribute that solely to the United Kingdom, but I kind of attribute those to the United States forces coming in from the Mediterranean Sea and offering support. That's what I see happening, because we can see how close, it is from the Mediterranean Sea. Jerusalem and the Gaza Strip and everything is right here on the bank of the Mediterranean. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. And Egypt also will become very wealthy along with Israel before that happens, before that battle of Armageddon is to occur. Anyway, continue.
Well, an interesting thing that President Trump said the other day, and I can't remember if this was, I've watched several different things lately, but he mentions that he's like, and I helped to stop 7 wars since I've been in office.
Oh, yeah. Did he?
And I was like, 7 wars. Interesting. And he mentioned places that I didn't even know they were at war.
Yeah, probably in Africa, right? There's a lot of different things happening in the world. That's cool.
Yeah, they were all kinds of different places, not just Africa, just lots. But it was interesting that it was 7. That just caught my attention.
A significant number.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like in our poll, the 15 to 20s are winning with 55% of the vote. But it looks like something is catching up. I don't know exactly what is catching up, but they only have 55, so somebody else could win. All right. Well, let's continue reading.
So we were at Tyson Price. He will in spirit. He'll be there. Oh yeah, absolutely.
He'll be there in spirit. Yeah.
The prophet will be the Celtic temple dedication. I believe so. Tyson Price said, okay, let's see. Goblin 2004 says, Zybirth, you are right about that. Okay. Joel says, Happy Yom Kippur on Adam's Day.
Yeah, that is true. That's happening right now. I forgot about that. I was going to mention that in one of my episodes today, but I did not.
So now you have.
Yep.
Bob D says, I would love to see Elder David A. Bednar be put into the first presidency. I think a lot of people agree with that. Maybe Brad Wilcox could be called as an apostle. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. He's very energetic.
And our friend Ed, who's donated a lot, says nothing but weeping, wailing, and gnashing of teeth there.
Oh, by whom? I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah. Randy Davis says Wilcox would be awesome. Yes.
Yeah, he's very energetic.
Joel says reformed snide comment here.
Oh yeah. Oh, because I mentioned snide comments from the ex-Mormon community, didn't I?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's cool, Joel. Well, welcome. You're always welcome here to be kind. we're glad that you're with
Christian
us.
says I met Brad in 1986.
Cool.
Brad Wilcox.
Yeah.
So that dates Christian a little bit, I think. He's a little older than me. But, Lindsay Black says it's men thinking that God is bound by our same governments and laws. To not know God has the ultimate override.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's to me when you're talking too about when people talk about, like, I remember when somebody was saying like this, I don't like this prophet's platform. I'm like, okay, he speaks for the Lord. So you want to argue it out with Heavenly Father? Go ahead, but you're gonna lose. He wins.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Bob D.
Yeah. I Okay, Bob D. I would love to see Elder Bednar to be called into the first presidency. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's. I thought I already read that because that's been said
Yeah, it's
before.
been said
Yeah.
multiple times. That's kind of a good possibility. I think that would be a
Yeah,
good one.
I think it'd catch a lot of people's attention too.
Hmm.
Brian's vlog says, I wonder if General Conference will be more often than every 6 months.
Oh, that's interesting. We get a
That's
lot of General
provocative.
Conference. That would be cool. I always enjoy
Um,
General Conference.
Christian says it's called an apostolic in.
Interregnum. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Daniel Burdett says, I recently returned to the church after an absence, not leaving again. This is a true church in the latter days. Welcome,
Amen.
Daniel. Glad you're
Yep.
back.
Welcome.
Yeah. There's a lot of great people coming in on the last wagon.
Yeah, that's true.
Joel says President Christ would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
I'm good with the second coming for conference. I'm fine with that.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
Lindsay Black corrects it to knowing. I'm not sure what
Oh,
that is. Christian's talking to somebody else. Goblin says, I would sustain the family proclamation to become a scripture. I would sustain the document wholeheartedly.
yeah. I wonder how many
And
would,
Randy Davis says, love the idea of President Jesus.
Yes.
Ed says, Daniel Burdett, welcome back. I had been out of the church for 30 years. The Lord sent the missionaries to me, and the spirit was so strong. I returned, and like you, I'm not leaving ever again.
Yeah.
Awesome. We need our good priesthood holders for sure.
Yes, we do.
Lindsay Black, yes, President Jesus. And I think that, what was it? It started being president like Jesus 2020. Like people are like, vote for Jesus for
President.
2020. You know,
Yeah.
that was a thing. I swear that's when I heard that start. Let's see. Lindsay also says it was April 2020. President Nelson promised that the April 2020 General Conference would be unforgettable, and it was to commemorate the anniversary of the first vision. Yes.
Yeah.
Bob says, I would love to see Elder Bednar to be called to the first presidency. Okay, so maybe that's the next poll.
Yeah.
Who's going to be in the first presidency?
Yeah. So we have different options, though. We have a lot of different options that we could put in that poll. Like we have Elder Bednar,
Yeah.
Elder Eyring, we have Brad Wilcox, and who else?
Uchtdorf. They said Uchtdorf again.
Yeah, let's do
Because
that.
he's been in it before. They said maybe Uchtdorf again. And
Oh,
sorry, guys, my camera just got blurry for some reason all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's not focusing. Well,
Yeah.
it looks like we can't. Let's see what the let's in the poll that we currently have, because we can't do two polls at once, apparently.
Oh.
So it looks like we have the grand winner is 15 to 20. They think will be announced for General Conference with 56% of the vote. We have 10 to 15 as coming in second place with 32% of the vote, and 1 to 10 temples announced as 12% of the vote. So that sounds good. We'll end the vote right now. It seems like we have a clear winner.
We're going for the gold, guys.
Yeah. All right.
That second coming gold.
You can
That's what we're
continue
going for,
reading
baby.
the chat, Melissa, and I will add a new poll.
All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going to read some while you're doing that. Lindsay Black says, yes, it was April 2020 for the Hosanna shout. Dustwave says, hi. Hi, Dustwave. And Dustwave says, greetings, everyone. Goblin says, it would be nice to see President Jeffrey R. Holland in the first presidency. No, I've heard somebody else said that in the chat before, too. But my feeling is, I'm like, he could go at any time. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Lindsay Black says ADHD was not a thing back then. Haha. I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to, but Tyson Price says, I have a feeling that Jesus Christ was behind the camera at the Sacred Grove when President Nelson was there in 2020 when the new Restoration Proclamation came out.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know. Bob D says, I would love to see Elder Bednar to be called into the first presidency. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, that's a good thing that we're having a poll for that.
Yep. I just started. I wasn't able to add
Thank you, those that
Holland.
have stuck around and been able to. Yeah. Oh, now I got to decide. Who will be in the first presidency? So we just get to pick one, right?
Yeah, just one.
Ooh, guys, what do you think? Do we have them all? Yep, Bednar. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Are you gonna put your vote in, Seth?
No, I haven't put my vote in. No, I want to put in. I won't tell anybody what my vote is. Oh, I think I voted. Okay. I think I did. Oh wow, we have a lot of different opinions. Nobody's voted for Brad Wilcox yet, though. Poor Brad.
I hope he's not watching this. I don't know.
Oh, wait, we have 5% now.
How would he
Somebody's
feel? I
voted
don't
for Brad.
know. We love you, Brad Wilcox.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
I think he's very energetic. I think he might be, that would be an interesting choice for sure. All right,
I think
let's
we all
continue.
appreciated when he prayed, may the second coming, may it come soon. And we're like, yes, Brad, thank you.
Yeah. He's definitely on board with the second coming, so that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, mine skipped all the way down to the bottom again.
I have a feeling that Jesus Christ was behind the camera. Okay, yes. Bob D. Oh, wait, I already did that one. Kathleen W. I also think the counselors will be Eyring and Bednar. Will Eyring stay? I don't know. That's a good question.
A very good question.
This Wave says everyone doing good tonight. Lindsay Black, yeah, hi, hey, this Wave. Let's see. Okay, we'll not read all the hays, right?
Yeah.
Ed says happy general conference, Adam Day. See what we're starting. Sean says, Sean's, I can't say that. Sean says, hey there, and okay. Let's see. Lots of greetings. Alvin Dyer. Yes, Joseph Peterson. Thank you. It was Alvin Dyer was the one who was put in as a counselor in the first presidency who was not a member of the Quorum of the 12.
Gotcha. Okay.
Alvin R. Dyer. Yes. And then Tyson Price says N. Eldon Tanner with question marks. Is that somebody that's alive right
now? I don't know.
That I know that name, but he says Sean says Elder Kieran would be awesome, probably for the first presidency. Yeah. Joseph Peterson says J. Reuben Clark. Is that another person that's alive? I know that name.
That sounds familiar. I think so. I'm not familiar enough with names, you guys, that I can remember just off the top of my head. Like, I'm very
Christopher Wood said, yeah, Christopher Wood says Gordon B. Hinckley gave President Benson's talk on pride.
That's true. Yeah, that was good. People were very confused.
Wave, Lindsay Black. Lindsay Black, a few nail biters, but things are going good so far. God is at the details. Everything will be okay. Okay, well. Bob D says, glad to hear it, Dust Wave. Glad things are going well. Bob D, I would love to see Elder Bednar called to the first presidency. Carol Taylor says, yes, Carson City, Nevada for a temple. Richard Payne says Larry Echohawk has too many skeletons in the closet. Okay, I don't know.
I've never heard that. That sounds
Daniel
like fake
Burdett
news.
says, watching from Biloxi, Mississippi. Welcome from the other side of the river. Okay. Deathwave says, personal revelation is different and everyone has a mind that works differently. So there are always fresh perspectives to learn from.
True. Yeah.
And it's interesting too, because as I've read different people's patriarchal blessings, I was surprised at how I was like, wow, the words sound like ones that this person would use. And so, and as I was talking about to this person, they were like, yeah, Heavenly Father, like he knows our language. He like speaks to us the way that we understand.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just really cool. Something I hadn't thought about. Anyways, let's see. And then Dustwave says, Lindsay. Okay, well, that's another personal thing. Scott Carter says, hello, guys, from Tule, Utah. Simply me, they will pray about it, of course. Lindsay Black, things going on in the heavens lately have been so interesting.
That's true.
Yeah, I know talked about those things from time to time, messaged back and forth, and brought up stuff in conversations here. Christopher Wood says personal revelation is specific to an individual, yet should not be taken for a revelation about anyone else that you aren't in a stewardship over, like your family, ward, stake.
True.
Ed says, I love this last conference talk. I loved his last conference talk.
Referring
Who's
to
him?
who? Yeah.
The prophet?
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah. Christopher Wood says, remember Gordon B. Hinckley was a third counselor in one of the first presidencies. Third counselor. Huh. Goblin says, I went to the visitor center at St. George, Utah Temple, and they took out the missionary display there, and there is a Book of Mormon interactive display.
Oh, cool.
Little Lego says, hello.
Welcome.
Okay. General Little Lego wants to know when General Conference is. It's this weekend.
Yep, this weekend. Just so there's
This
no confusion.
live stream is General Conference Adam.
Yep, this is General Conference Adam.
Which Eve is tomorrow.
So that's cool.
Carol Taylor says, I think it's likely we'll get the Joseph Smith translation, full translation of the Bible.
Yes.
The parts that he completed since the church purchased documents from the Church of Christ. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Carol. Yeah. Because I think that could be very provocative to come out right now. Don't you agree, Seth?
I definitely agree with that. I think that is another really good possibility. Like, so I had totally overlooked the fact that the church did purchase the actual transcripts of the Joseph Smith translation. I just thought, just based on the Deseret News article, which was very unclear, and they should do a rewriting of that article, that they had just purchased the Bible and other documents related to just whatever, but no, it's actually the translation manuscripts and the Bible that he used. So yeah, I think that the only way that that is because they omitted a comma. So the documents are associated with the transcript. So that was not very clear in the Deseret News article at all. But yeah, I think that's a very good possibility.
Yeah. And I just think especially, I know that Seth likes to stir the pot. Like, I don't know if he's going to stir the pot again for Halloween about no more trunk or treats.
Yeah, no more trunk or treating.
And no more trunk or treat. To me, that would be so pot stirring that people would not be happy. Be like, those Mormons, they've come out and they're changing the Bible, right?
Yeah, that would happen. Yep. They would say that there would be this whole new thing, even though our Bible has always included some of the footnotes. We only have 1/3 of the Joseph Smith translation footnotes in our Bible. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that we would be doing would be probably adding more footnotes, and we probably have an additional resource where you could see in line, all the translation, which would be amazing to be able to see what it is and then see what Joseph Smith kind of added his commentary on. It would be so fascinating to have both of those resources. But yeah, people would freak out, though, of course. Like, the evangelicals would be like, see, we told you they're not Christian. That's what they're doing.
I kind of feel like it almost, the more I think about I feel like it almost kind of has to come out. Like,
yeah. Like, why would they purchase it? They were able to.
It was very like useful. It would just add a log to the fire right now. And
yeah, I mean, like, there's so much stuff going on right now that has everybody's attention focused on Utah and the Latter-day Saints. Like, it's kind of crazy. It makes me wonder what's coming. It's amazing,
right? Little Lego wants to know about the times for General Conference. I know if you go on the churchofjesuschrist.org, then you can go onto it from there. And then if you just go onto YouTube, I think it's going to come up if you make sure to subscribe to like General Conference. I think that's the YouTube channel General Conference. I think that's what it's on.
Mountain Standard Time. So it's easy to just Google that. Like, let's move on, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. Anyways, okay. So check that out on there. All right. Now I got it. Oh, okay. Carol Taylor, Indigenous peoples are gathering and sharing their histories, writings, so those may be coming also.
That's very cool. I like that you mentioned that 2020 they were recording the stories. That's really cool.
Yeah. Twizzle says yes, it will be historic World General LDS Conference, new scripture coming forth. So let's see. All right. Oh, okay. Sean says Ireland and Scotland. Yay. Did they have that? Was that on those? Ireland has been announced before. Did it show another one for Ireland? It didn't, did it?
No, it just said it had one blue possibility. I know it didn't even have a possibility. Oh wait, no, I mean it didn't work right here.
But Scotland had more. Scotland, it suggested more. So maybe Sean thinks that there's going to be more in Ireland than Scotland. They agree.
North London, England, and Sunderland, England temples. Doesn't look like we have one in Scotland. Proposed.
And Little Lake, President Oaks has not been made the prophet yet. Christopher Wood says, I believe Joseph Smith Jr. will be bringing forth the sealed portion of the plates and corrected version of the Bible when the church is worthy to have them.
That would be cool.
So, Lady LDS says, good evening, just subbed. Thank you, lady.
Well, thank you. Yeah, welcome.
And so we're at Goblin 2004. There are 5 states that don't have a temple: Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, and Mississippi. Yes, thank you for looking that up.
Yeah, that's good information.
Yeah, but I think the main one makes a lot of sense. Ed says, have you all seen the rendering of the Brussels, Belgium temple? It's the most unique temple of them all.
No, I haven't looked at that. That sounds interesting. I can look that up if you want to keep reading.
Yeah, you can look it up while as I just continue along.
Okay.
Lady LDS says Riverton, Utah here. Let me know when you got it. Little Lego says Arcata. I think that was telling you how to pronounce or say where one of those temple locations was. I'm not sure.
Oh, I see.
Twizzle says yes on Eagle Hawk. I think they're saying Echo Hawk. I don't know. Did not catch the whole name. Yeah. Is he from the group that has handled the very old ancient records of the late and over years? I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Goblin 2004 says the groundbreaking for the Lone Mountain, Nevada temple took place recently. And I love Lord of the Rings. So when I heard Lone Mountain, I was thinking of like the Lonely Mountain from Lord of the Rings.
Now, I have 3 different renderings here of the Brussels. Well, this one I think is... Yeah, this is kind of interesting, isn't it?
Oh, is that the one that's inside it's inside another existing building?
Yeah,
like
it is.
They're taking the corner or something?
So
was it original church house location, and so they are changing it into a temple, maybe?
Yeah, they're like transforming a building that already exists and making it into a temple. So that's really cool. But they also have different...
Yeah, that is very different. Interesting.
They have this one here, and I think this is an existing... Oh, no. It just takes me to this.
Yeah.
I think that might be the only one. But
yeah, so thanks for sharing that. That is really very interesting.
Yeah, it just takes me to this rendering. Oh, this would be the grounds, I guess. Cool.
Oh, and Arcade, Little Lego was saying pronounce Arcata, California.
Arcata? All right. All right, you guys, I think that we're going to have to...
this weekend. I have a feeling it's going to be really peaceful for everyone.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't know. Kind of saying that makes me feel like it won't be. I don't know. Yeah. It just seems like around every turn there's
something. I hope that
something fantastic.
No doubt they will have increased security at the general conference. So
Little Lego says, by the way, I'm not LDS anymore since about 10 years ago, but I'm still devastated about this past Sunday. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think that's one of those things that people have kind of come to realize, that it's like it could be anybody. It's an attack on Christianity, not just our church, because it is happening to other faiths as well.
It is. However, this was specifically targeted towards Latter-day Saints. That was
this one was. Yeah, for sure. Kelly Ostergerder says John Pingree or Matt Holland. That would be interesting.
It would be cool.
President Holland's son
Mm-hmm.
was in the Quorum of the 12.
Yeah.
With his dad.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So.
Well, Melissa, I think that we're going to have to close this live stream down. We're almost at 11 o'clock again. So
and I think we covered pretty much everything we had talked about.
We
for
covered
the most
pretty
part.
much. We covered possibility of new apostles. We covered new temples. We covered solemn assembly. I think we got it, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, make sure to send in if you have a chat that you really, really want me to read, make sure to do that. I'll give you a chance. We'll let you do that for about 5 minutes. If you want to send in a super chat, make sure to do that. Let's read the final results for the poll that we just did. So final results, Elder Uchtdorf, 28% voted for Elder Uchtdorf to be in the first presidency. Brad Wilcox, only 4%. Sorry, Brad. Well, it would be really cool if he was in there. I know that this is all just speculation on our part, but if he was, we would all appreciate Brad Wilcox, I'm sure. We just didn't vote for him. Okay. And we have Elder Eyring. He's got 28%. He's tied with Elder Uchtdorf, and then Elder Bednar with 40% of the vote. So Elder Bednar would be overwhelmingly positive in most people's opinion. Oh, somebody just voted for Elder Eyring. So now we got 30% Elder Eyring and 39% Elder Bednar. All right.
Oh, no.
I'm going to end the poll, you guys. The poll is officially ended. All right. Now, before we go, you guys, make sure to smash the like button. Make sure to comment. Make sure to check out the website, risezion.org. If you want to purchase a t-shirt, you can pre-order. That will help support the channel in a different way. If you want to receive something in return, we're trying to offer value to you guys so that we can offer you a service rather than just asking for, your support. But we appreciate everybody who has contributed to, supporting the cause of Zion and supporting these messages that we create. We really appreciate you guys. And Melissa, we're glad to have you on the program as well. We've reached now almost 43,000 subscribers in just about a year. So we're very grateful for everybody who has joined us on this amazing adventure on YouTube and has joined us in building a Zion community. I recognize a lot of you here in the chat, and we're grateful for you, and especially for our volunteers. Thank you, Dustwave, for helping us. Thank you, Becky, who was a part of the program at the beginning, and thank you to everyone who has participated. So yeah, we'll give you.
Did you have a goal about what your next goal is?
Yeah, what is the next goal, you guys? We have.
I feel like 70 is a good number because it's a 7.
70 is a very good number.
That's a high number, but
yeah, or we could just double it and say, okay, we're going to double 40 and then go to 80. So there's that.
8 being a new beginning. I don't know.
Yeah, 80 is a good number too. I had somebody suggest maybe we should just go for 100,000 because that's like the milestone that is like, okay, YouTube actually recognizes that as a milestone. So, and they actually send you a plaque for that. So that would be interesting. We'll get there eventually, you guys, but I don't know what our next goal should be. Like, do we do just baby steps, or do we just go ahead and say, 100,000? But I don't want to be like announcing it like every, for such a long time. It's like, you guys, if we did the 100,000, you definitely have to help me and share as much as possible to all your family and friends to make it so that we can reach that 100,000 goal, because that would be a big one. But yeah.
And are you going to do a general conference live stream?
Yes, we will be doing live streams after on Saturday and on Sunday to just kind of talk about what we heard. Yes, and just give my general impressions about what was talked about. We'll talk about themes. It's so fun to do that with you guys. So yeah, we will do that for sure. So make sure to check that out on Saturday after. I'll try to do one in the noon portion. It's kind of a tight time period. We have to do it after the morning session, and then we'll try to do one in the evening as well, and then we'll do the same for Sunday. Just really short live streams, maybe like 30 minutes. We'll try to do that. So yeah. But yeah, thank you, Melissa, again for being on. All right. Doesn't look like we have any additional super chats. You guys, thank you again for joining us. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to read all of your messages. We've just had so many. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We'll talk to you next time. And Melissa, do you have anything else to end with?
Nope. But yeah, if you could, um, we have our City of Enoch video coming out. Seth and I do on his
Yeah.
channel, and then if you could, it'd be awesome if you check out on Love Notes from God and catch the buzz. Well, Love Notes from God is where I have my City of Enoch 2-part videos, and
Right.
then for General Conference Eve tomorrow, if you could check it out with Women in the Priesthood, and I'm going to be posting that on my channel as well too on Love Notes from God.
Cool.
So that'd be awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Yep. Good night or good morning.
Good morning for some of you.